Yeah, I think it was like, I want to say 4 years. Bobby was already in the business. Um, and yeah, I just wrestled throughout Connecticut until I was about, I want to say about 17, 18 years old. Um, Took a couple years off. Then I started training with Wagner. I was Wagner's second student for Test of
Oh,
Strength, with the first being Ty Shine. I was, however, the first Test of Strength showcase student. So Ty wasn't greenlit yet, so I was wrestling around under the TOS banner,
okay.
and then I did that for a couple years, and then I had a family, and I just chilled out and took an
Ah.
8 year long break, and then came back. When was Rise Up? I want to say July.
Just out of nowhere, we see this guy with Red Sawyer, and we're like, "Who the fuck is that?" It was pretty wild because, even though if there's new talent that comes into TOS, we see them at the training days. We usually just don't see guys or girls popping out of nowhere. And you kind of did a pop in. You got into a little something, and it was like, where did this guy come from? So when you told me that you have a history with TOS, and I'm like, oh, we positively have to get Johnny Medina on the show. Now,
Yeah, so
I
so even
oh, go
so
ahead.
even that story is kind of interesting too. So, um, I I wasn't supposed to be a part of Rise Up at that point. I was only back in training for like about a month, and I was just hanging out, just helping people. And it looks like Red's original partner caught a flat tire, and then I
Oh.
just see Wagner and Red staring at me, and I just knew I was like, oh shit, I know what they're gonna ask me, and low key, I didn't want to do it because I was just like, I don't think I'm ready yet. And they come up to me and they say, hey man, you got your gear, which being in the business,
Always.
no matter where you go, always have your gear.
Mhm.
And and yeah, I clearly didn't have gear. I was only like a month in, and when they explained to me what the situation was, I was like, well, I got some basketball shorts in the car. Red, do you have a ripped shirt? He was like, yeah, and I was like, all right, we're just gonna do it. And yeah, that was basically it. That's where you saw the Johnny character, because I had no last name at that point. Fans were into it. They dug it for what it was for that short stint.
um, it was one of those wrestling surprises we weren't expecting. And it was one of those wrestling surprises that we weren't expecting. And it was somebody that we haven't seen. And it was with Red Sawyer. That guy, that guy's got this thing going on. I know that he was still a little bit tied with the mission at that point, but he's got this mystique going on. Does one Red Sawyer that is his own character, his own little thing. And I know, the trenches are really starting to pick something up right now. But we, the fans, have latched on to Red Sawyer. Some for good, some for not for so good. Uh, I love to mess with one Red Sawyer. He likes to yell at me. I like to yell back. And that's our relationship. Um, so it was a formula right there for that one moment, for yourself coming in to that spot to where there was supposed to be somebody else, card subject to change. You improvised fully, got into it, took care of business, and you caught our eye because I'm like, who are you? Let's do an STP. You're like, I got a history, but we got to wait a little bit. I said, respectfully, no problem, but hurry the fuck up. That's pretty much how that conversation went.
Yeah, yeah,
Because you did have a history with TOS, and I'm like, I got to get this guy. So, with all of that being said, going back through that curtain, you felt good about what went down, my friend?
yeah. So I was actually talking to some of the guys about this yesterday at the dojo. I don't really like to speak about this much, but I want to say it was June. I didn't come back with the intention of performing again. Um, I I was going through like just real world shit. Can I swear on here? Is that cool? Oh, looks like you disconnected again. Nope. I got you. You still hear
Oh,
me?
yes,
There we
yes.
go.
Oh my God. Oh, thank you, baby Jesus.
No, you're good. You're good. Yeah, but yeah, I was just going through like some real world shit. Without getting into too much detail. And while I was, kind of like at my lowest, for some reason my only thought was text Bobby, Bobby Ocean. Um, and the reason why I was text Bobby is because me and Bobby have like, I see Bobby Ocean as like my older brother. And same with Wagner. My relationship, I have respect for them as my trainers, but they're also like older brothers because I've known them since I was 14.
Wow.
Right. So I contacted him, basically said, "Hey, when are you guys training?" He let me know like tomorrow. So I literally showed up the next day. We had an hour-long conversation about the stuff I was going through. I did lie to Bobby. I was like, yeah, I just want to come back and, wrestle. I missed, but it was really just, I just want to let my frustration out. I would just want to, the ring has always been my canvas. I always just wanted to just express myself and do what I want to do. So yeah, so it was never my intention to actually perform. And then I had that tag match with Red, and then I was like, oh shit, this is why we do this. And I instantly fell in love with it all over again.
Nice.
And when I don't know, when I got back to the curtain, I looked at Bobby, and Bobby was like, I don't know, he just kind of gave me that look, like I see it now. Like now I see that you like
Right.
you care about this again, not so much you're doing this for, to get through your real world shit,
Right. So that's got to make you feel good. Obviously, hearing us, boo and all of that good stuff. And I don't know if you heard all of that because, while you're in that ring, you don't always hear and or see everything that we're doing because
Right.
a lot of the wrestlers have such a focus on what's going on inside that ring. So I'll even just pose you the question. Did you hear us react?
Yeah. So I think this go around is the first time that I feel like everything is clicking in that sense,
Okay.
where I'm being aware of my surroundings and what's going on and not so much focused on the match. But I also think it's because, so if you talk to certain folks, they'll be like, oh, he's a TOSOG or he, or whatever. But I see myself more as like a fly on the wall, where it's like, yes, I've been around before, but I didn't make a Ichiban like impact. I didn't make a Sammy Diaz like impact. Right.
Gotcha.
So even coming back, it's like when those guys come around, I'm picking their brain nonstop, So I think for Rise Up, like if we're just gonna talk Rise Up,
That's
I
cool.
think I went out there with such a I don't care mentality, but more so in the sense of I'm just gonna be foolish. I'm gonna yell. I'm gonna, throw the garbage can around. Who cares? Let's just have fun with it, right? And it was just little things. I just heard the boos, but I also heard like the awe. Like if me and Red hit a tag move, or if we did, and I think that's where I felt like, oh, all right, this was it. You just had to have fun and not care so much about being a robot in there.
Because, from gathering, especially newer wrestlers and some of the talent that I've talked to that have taken a break for personal reasons and then come back, they kind of got to get their oats about them again and, get in that rhythm or whatever. But you don't always compute, boys and girls. The talent, don't always compute what we're saying, even if we're screaming our full heads off. It doesn't always compute because there's a move set, there's a game plan, if you will, here and there, as discussed, and they don't want to hurt themselves. They don't want to hurt their opponents. They want to look the best they can. They want to make their opponent look the best they can. They want to make us happy. There's way too many elements going on in their head in that ring at that moment. So they get caught up. And what I like to do is the horses with the blinders. And they get caught up in that vision, if you will, of I got to do this, X, 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 and X, and then he's going to Y. And there's a lot of things going on up here, so it doesn't register what we are saying, yelling, and doing on that other side. Yeah. So when a guy like Mr. Medina says, it's clicking, I can feel it. I feel that I'm clicking on all cylinders right at that moment when you heard it and you felt it. Those are those moments where either a new guy has already felt Super Fro. This kid has got just tons and tons of charisma, and the crowd and him were already feeling each other right off the ripper in his very, very early career here. Some of the guys and or girls, they don't even feel that. 5 years, 8 years, 10 years sometimes that I've personally talked to, and they're still trying to make those connections. For you to feel that at Rise Up, that puts a little warmth in my heart right here, my man.
Yeah, I'm one of those examples. It didn't click for me right away either. Originally when I was again, granted I was 14, right? So my thought process was I just want to be in the ring and just do stuff. And then when I was a TOS student, it clicked, but I wasn't happy with who I was, the character. Okay. So now it's like this character or I don't even like to call it a character. Like what you see out there, like the stuff that I do is unapologetically, that's me. It just depends on what the situation is, right? So it's like, if you look at the deal with Frost, right? I did have a place of anger. I was angry. You saw that. Like that wasn't, oh, hey, I'm angry right now. And once I'm behind the curtain, like I'm all smart. No, I was pissed that night. I didn't wrestle. I was angry. But then if you look at my match with Giorgio, you still see that same intense guy, but I wasn't so much angry. I was a cocky motherfucker, because rightfully so.
And you were having too pleasant of a time by maiming one Giorgio Lawrence's leg, might I say. Too much smiling and too much fun by maiming a man.
I say this with the utmost respect to everyone in the TOS locker room. I didn't come back to just be a spot on the card. I didn't. I respect Sammy Diaz. I respect Ichiban. I respect, 100%. I respect Wagner Brown, Bobby Ocean. I respect all those guys. But I'm trying to be at that main event spot. It's that simple. And you got these guys, like you have, again, Peter Gianni, you got Super Fro, Young Boy, Patrick Saint, all these dudes that are incredible, that I'm clocking in and out with them every Tuesday and Thursday. So it's like, I see what they're like. I see how they're working, and I have to match that or surpass that. This isn't a, hey, I'm happy to be here type of deal. No, right. I'm trying to be where you guys are at or farther.
So you've come in not only getting back in a rhythm, but challenging. We talk about that a lot on here. Challenging yourself, because you're mixed up with a group of young men and women over at the TOS Dojo that will definitely be on our TV in different time frames, if you will, from the Itchies and so forth. Goddamn, I miss Ty Shine in the ring so much. I really, really, really do.
I'm I'm gonna say this on the record, so
Ooh,
it's recorded. I'm working
okay.
on that.
Oh,
I'm working on that. I'm
oh.
saying it on the record. I've been ever since I came back. I've been doing nothing but sending them photos. Where are you? What are you doing? Like I know I'm not gonna come back, and you're not here. You know,
Now that puts another little warmth in
I'm
my heart.
I'm
I
working
love
on
this.
it. A lot of folks don't have faith in it, but I'm
All
keeping the
right.
faith. I'm keeping the faith.
Okay. Well, don't make me like you. Now I kind of like you, my man. Don't make me like you.
Listen, I was Ty Shine's very first match. And since then we traveled up and down New England, just wrestling each other until ultimately I left. And then as I left, even though I disconnected myself from it, I always kept tabs on him and seeing how good he got. And I still
Very.
feel he I don't think he realizes how good he was,
No,
you know,
absolutely not.
and so for me it's just like I wish you come back now that we're older, we're smarter, we're not doing the same dumb shit we did when we were in our early
Hmm.
20s.
Hmm.
But we'll see, man. We'll see, because life,
Uh,
you know.
that does pull the talent away at times. And then, as an example, when Mr. Medina kind of returns, you never know with
You
wrestling.
never know.
So we're talking OG TOS, Ty Shine, Mr. Medina. I know you went under something else, I'm sure, at that time. We can get into
Yeah,
that as well. But now you're in the middle, and I'm going to swing back to where we were at. You're in the middle of a very young Superfro, a very young TOS, a Mr. Gianni who's saying the same stuff that's kind of in your age range and is saying, I'm trying to keep up with these kids. I mean, they're pushing me to get the best out of me. And I feel that's where you're at right now. And you're in the mix of this company, the Superfro, TOS young boy. Patrick Saint, for Christ's sake, that guy is on the rise real quick. Sammy Diaz's, the Itchy Bonds, and the list goes on and on. So do you feel right now that you're getting yourself, you're feeling challenged right now with that mix of company at the TOS dojo?
absolutely, absolutely. But I like that. I didn't have that before.
Hmm.
Before, when we were at the dojo, it was just me and Ty.
Right.
And then eventually we got the TJ Howell that came in before he was TJ
Nah,
Howell.
we don't have to. We don't have to talk
Hey,
about.
listen, I leave and he makes mistakes like teaming up with Frost. He does these silly things. I I can't speak on it. I just remember a young TJ Howell first breaking in, me teaching him how to run the ropes and bumping. I remember that kid. What he
Wow.
became after I left, my hands aren't on that. My hands are clean on it.
I got nothing to do with
But
it.
but when it comes to like those guys, like um, and this is me, peeling the curtain a little bit, like TOS young boy. That kid, he I don't know, man. I remember my first day back in practice, he blew me up in that ring. How fast he went, all the stuff he did. But me and young boy have like we have this sort of friendship that I really enjoy because again, the age difference,
Right.
But I always throw ideas at him, he throws ideas at me,
Nice.
things like that. So he kind of makes me, kind of get to that level. And I enjoy that because he's only what, 2 years, maybe?
Yeah.
And he's and the kid is good. Nobody can
Definitely
deny how
good.
good young boy is. And then
Hmm.
um, Super Fro was one of those ones that I first gravitated to when I got back. And like we hit it off. Me and him are, really cool. Um, and it's those guys, like seeing these guys at a place where I once was, where they were insecure about certain things, and I'm seeing them break out of it.
Hmm.
It's cool to see.
Facts.
So the dojo, I'm very happy to be in that. I'm forever gonna be a Wagner guy. That's no, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Mhm.
The DPW dojo is where I got my foundation, but where I got my creativity and where I got, you know, what allowed me to express myself and be me was that dojo. So being in there with all those guys, all it's doing is making me better.
That is what we want to hear. That is such a beautiful story, and we
Don't
thank
get
you
it twisted.
for.
Hang on, but don't get it twisted. If I pop into an event page and it says Training Day 52, me versus so and so, I gotta whoop their
I,
ass. I gotta whoop their ass. It is what it is.
I understand that,
It is what
but
it is.
I did want to thank you for being open with us, the fans, because that's why we have the talent on here, just to peel it back a little bit if we can. And I
Yeah,
appreciate you being open and honest like that, my man.
sure.
Um, Now we talk, we talk certain names most times from the TOS dojo,
Sure.
and we see the kids that have come up previous, and now the kids that are coming up now. And you get into the middle of all of this at 32 years old right now, um, getting back. And I know we just talk collectively from a wide age range, what it does for you as an athlete and even as a man, because now you're bouncing things, you're talking creatively, you're speaking to Bobby Ocean again in almost a brotherly way for advice. I want to get back in. So there's a lot of things going on with Johnny Medina and the TOS
Sure.
dojo. All of that collectively, that's what I've always kind of gravitated towards the dojo just a smidge more than maybe other facilities, because I have seen the discipline that the students show themselves and how they challenge themselves regularly. AJ Bricks, a Richard E. Stone, I've seen him from the ground up. Sammy Diaz, Elijah Six, all collectively as a firm. Holy shit. Talk about some magic made as they all four of them were together. Um, you mentioned that you were something different that you didn't like as a persona, a character, if you will. And right now, you are here's Johnny kind of thing because of your shirt. Excellent graphic, the way it was presented. I know it came out like hotcakes. I did not get one because you pissed me off about Ryan Frost, but I would really, hopefully they're not a limited run, like to actually get one maybe someday. Um, and so the characters that are coming out the dojo is my point, really. The the stars and how they have evolved. Where were you? Why weren't you happy? What was the persona? And give us to where we are now with the Johnny Medina name. Does it represent anything? And you come out with some gear now. It's not just some basketball shorts and a ripped t-shirt. So talk to us about the evolution of Johnny Medina, if you could.
Sure. So when I was originally in the TOS dojo, um, so let me try to reel it back a little bit. So I am a Wagner guy, 100%, but I am also a Mike Milano guy. And if you don't know who Mike Milano is, he was the owner of the Defiant Pro Wrestling Dojo in Waterbury, Connecticut. And that guy treated me like one of his own. I slept in that ring. Like I was there every day in that dojo. He passed away in I believe in 2010. Um, and I think from there, I think that's when there was a bunch of schools, but the only person that I knew and I gravitated to the most was Wagner because he was always, I think at the time he was the DPW heavyweight champion.
Okay.
And he just always helped me out. So when I went to Wagner, they were planning on rebuilding DPW. And because I was a part of it, they wanted me to come back. I was not comfortable with where I was because I was wrestling, I was training, but I didn't have a character yet. And they just gave me a mask and they said, well, hey, wear this mask. And then when you figure it out, you can take the mask off. I said,
Okay.
okay, that's fine. So I wear the mask. I work a fatal four way. I the character. I don't like saying got over, but it got a good reaction. And then I did a segment later on with Wagner, and now the character is kind of popular. So now I'm stuck with this character. I'm stuck in the mask. Um, some cool things did happen from wearing that mask. Like one of them being, I met a fan named El Jabroni, and El Jabroni, and I told El Jabroni to train at the TOS dojo.
Shut
Um,
up!
yep, and in return, a few other folks started at the dojo, and there's certain members at the dojo. I just found this out myself. There are certain members of the dojo that were there because they saw my character, and I recommended Jabroni to come, and he brought them along.
Wow.
So I mean, some cool stuff did come out of it. But when you see someone like Ty that is not wearing a mask and he gets to be himself, and then you're at the dojo and you're in a way your style's kind of the same, you're trained the same, you're joking around, you're doing, and you're just like, but I can't do this under the mask.
Mm-hmm.
It just, and that's no fault to Wagner's. It was just, because it was more the people booking that promotion at the time that they were just so stuck on me keeping the mask.
Okay.
And yeah, and then one time I wrestled in Pennsylvania, and they said, well, hey, would you be comfortable not wearing the mask? This is a new crowd. I don't know anybody. So I go, sure, no problem. So I go out there, no mask, and that's the first time I felt free. I felt like
Okay.
myself.
Wow.
And then shortly after, I had my daughter. So my focus kind of went on being a dad. But I knew when I came back, like the first thing I told everyone was, don't expect me to put the mask back on because you guys already have someone in a mask. He's 10 times better than my mask character ever was. You don't need two mask characters, so let me just be me.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever that means, we're gonna figure it out at the dojo when we clock in and clock out.
Yeah, take this ride with me for sure.
Yeah, and the whole "Here's Johnny" deal is more so. If you notice, like the first couple like shows I didn't have a last name. I was just Johnny.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, okay, well, if I don't have a last name, like what can I
Yeah,
do?
you're gonna get lost with a Johnny.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, well, let's do, from The Shining and from the Johnny Carson deal, let's do Here's Johnny. Because I already have like when I'm in there, I do have an intense face. So I was like, let's just get a mean mug look. We'll print it on there. It'll be cool. And then yeah, and then we ended up coming up with Johnny Medina, which I found out was my real last name. so I was like, this is perfect. This is my dad's real last name. So we just coined it, and now here we are, Johnny Medina.
Wow. Boys and girls, that story right there, you can't get it at the merch tables. That's why we sit with the talent and get these beautiful stories. So TOS and Johnny Medina have quite the history. That is for sure. And I never knew. I always thought it was Ty Shine and TJ. I never was aware of Johnny even back then.
Yeah, that's why I always I acknowledge that with a lot of fans because I would, as far as like TOS events, the only event I did was Training Day 1.
Okay.
And then pro I think at that point my daughter was already a month old, and I was kind of, I already had that mentality of I'd rather be home with my daughter. And then I left shortly after. So now when I come back, that's why, again, I have been around, but I always look at myself as the fly on the wall because no one remembers it. But I enjoy that because now when I come out as Johnny Medina, it's like we're not piggybacking off of my previous characters.
Yeah.
What you're getting is like this is either going to work or it's not going to work. This is the first time we're doing this. Is it going to click or is it not? And I enjoy that I basically get to rehab that first time experience that Super Fro got to experience in the rookie gauntlet. That
Yes.
Tommy Bates and Daddy Cat and all these guys get to experience. Listen, man, Daddy Cat's my guy.
I can't say those two. I can't say those two words together. I cannot. I am not calling him Daddy Cat. It's going to be Hello Kitty or nothing.
That's how I feel about the Pretty Pendejo. I can't say Pretty Poppy. It's weird. It's just weird. And even like if you want to throw another one, he's another example. I'm wrestling him on Sunday. But he's another guy that
upcoming.
When I was completely disconnected from the business, I was going to the gym and he worked at the gym.
Oh, and,
okay. I saw Eli there, and me and Eli are from two different classes of TOS. Mm-hmm. So, we introduce ourselves, we talk about, Wagner in the dojo, and we see this kid that is fresh off of Cody Rhodes' school trying to find a place to go. So me and Eli say, go to Wagner.
Right.
And then, he goes to Wagner. I come back like a year and a half later and there he is. And I think that's what bothers me about this whole me wrestling him on Sunday. It's like, dude, like we were cool leading up to this. Why are you getting in my business? You could have just stood your lane, do your thing. We were cool, bro. Mm-hmm. So I'd be lying to you if I said that I am going to feel a little bit bad hurting him on Sunday. I do feel bad, but it's a tiny bit because you got in my business twice, bro. What are you doing? But it's the game, man. Like you put yourself in these positions, and then when I get the phone call, telling me who I'm working, it is what it is, man. I can't help you at that point.
Boys and girls, training day 51. The poster has Tommy Bates and Hello Kitty plastered front and center on this. I'll have to say Daddy Cat just for that because they're on the poster front and center. I'll give him that. Look up Test of Strength. It'll come right up. It's got a black insignia. You've seen the logo on all over my stuff. Look it up. Training day 51. It's going to be at the 87 Church Street in East Hartford, Connecticut. Again, just to reiterate to the newer people, you're going to pull up to the building and you will think you are lost. And you're in the right place. It does not look like a place where you get out of your car and go to wrestling because you're like, where the fuck do I go? You are in the right place. You go up the stairs. I like to call them the stairs of the legends. Many a feet have touched that staircase. You go up the stairs, you go down a hallway, you take a left on another hallway, you take a hard right and a very, very hard right. And it's smaller than no, it's definitely not smaller than my bedroom. It's a little bit bigger than my bedroom with a wrestling ring and about 30 or so chairs with some standing room. And holy shit, do we have a good time. Look it up on the old face page and such.
It's a small spot, but when I'm telling you, man, these guys and girls go in there and they do their thing. But it's because we all want to be great. And that's what I enjoy about our roster. It's just a bunch of guys and girls that want to be great. Again, we clock in for training, but when it's a training day or a road show, none of that stuff matters. Once me and you are across the ring from each other, we are going to beat the hell out of each other. But it's because we want to be great.
Yes.
It's that simple. Whether you enjoy the tactics that I do or do not, or the tactics of others or how people go about things, like it doesn't change the fact that we are trying to make memories to be great.
Hmm. Uh, we both, the fans and the wrestlers, take memories away from the events. I speak on that quite often, actually. Um, and you're at a different tenure in your life and in your wrestling career. Um, have your kids seen you in the ring yet?
So I bring I bring my kids to practice. Um, I'm not I'm not comfortable bringing them to shows yet because I know the way I explain it to my kids is when I am home, I'm dad. I'm Jonathan
Hmm.
when I'm home. When I'm in that ring, I am Johnny Medina. I am not for however long I'm in there for, I'm not your dad. So when you
Right.
see me do certain things, like there's things, the Ryan Frost deal at Fight for Your
Hmm.
Dreams, my
Hmm.
kids hated me for that. They didn't
Hmm.
understand why I did something like that.
Right.
And those reasons of why I did it are personal to me. They'll never understand. They're kids.
Hmm.
But they're upset seeing it through the phone screen. Imagine if they were there live.
Gotcha.
And me being the type of competitor that I am, I need to fully focus. I
Hmm.
can't put myself in a position where, you know, Jonathan slips out because his kids are concerned,
Yeah.
right? I'm just not there yet. Maybe one day I haven't seen BMT and Ariel yet, but hopefully I can cross paths with them again soon. Though
Yes.
that's another, those are two other people that I've known since I was 14, wrestled them
Hmm.
both. Um, I hope I cross paths with them soon so they can teach me their ways, man, because they do it. And I
I
and I'm
don't know how.
and I contacted BMT and I contacted Ariel privately, and I told them both, like, you're part of the reason why I came back, because you guys showed me
Hmm.
that you can be a dad and be a mom and still do this stuff. I'm like, half of a good portion of the reason why I'm back, I have to give it to them. And I made sure I contacted them both privately to let them know, like, you're part of the reason I felt like I could still do this.
That's
Um,
awesome.
but yeah, right now, especially on the role that I'm on, I don't know. Maybe if I change my ways a little bit, maybe the kids will come through. But let's be honest. Since I've been back, you've seen me either hold a chair, hold a kendo stick, or hold a step ladder. Right. So it's like,
Yeah.
if someone schedules me for like a chain match, or like a chain wrestling match or something, then maybe I'll I'll bring them up. But
uh, no, excellent thoughts, excellent thinking ahead, if you will, because I can just imagine you seeing an expression on your children's face as you're at the show, maybe doing something to your opponent that you couldn't, you would have to pull, you would have to pull back because you'd be like, I can't do this in front of my kid. I
that,
applaud you. I
that's where
absolutely
that's
applaud
where it
you.
gets tough, right? Because I know who I am as a person, and if I'm in there and I have to make the choice, like, do I pull back? I know I'm not going to.
Oh.
and, and that's where me being a father first kind of goes
Mhm.
more towards the route of just don't come at all. As much as I would love your support, like, I'm not. Again, I am here to make a statement, right?
Mhm.
And I can't have anything, you know, allowing me to slip. And I love, they're
Oh,
my world, but the whole point of me making this impact is so I could give them a better life. So
that's
I
really
gotta do what
what
I
it,
gotta do.
yes, it boils down to that. So please let's get into that because you have this kind of rocky relationship with wrestling by coming in and out of it. It seems to love you back as you are loving it right now. You seem like you're having an absolute fucking blast doing what you're doing.
Yep.
Now, you mentioned livelihood at 32 coming back. Is this something that you're looking to do long term that we can see you on TV and do that livelihood through wrestling for your family?
Um, that's only if, you know, I of course that's the dream and that's what I want, but that's only if I make it there, you know. Right now I'm enjoying what I'm doing. I'm very
Excellent.
fortunate that in my time away, I put myself in a position, you know, in the real world as Jonathan. I was fortunate to put myself in a position where my only focus is my kids and wrestling.
Mhm.
There's no in between. There's nothing else. There's times like the fact that I'm sitting here talking to you, normally what I would be doing is I would be watching tape with my kids. Like I would be blowing Wagner up with questions, you know, like that, you know, or again, if we're gonna bring Young Boy back up, I'd be texting Young Boy with a thought or an idea, or Big Money Barber. He's another one that I always reach out to for advice or for things like that. I'm always thinking wrestling.
Mhm.
Um, so I feel like as far as like the three times that I've done this, I feel like this is the one where will I make it to TV? I don't know, but I know that the art that I'm painting on that canvas will be noticed at some point, whether
Mhm.
it's now or it's not even just the wrestling. Like, you know, I feel it in my promos too. You know, my most recent promo, I was proud of that
Excellent.
promo. I everything I said, I meant. I felt
Mhm.
that. Where previously I felt disconnected with the character. It felt like
Mhm.
two separate people. Um, so that's really my focus now. TV, if it happens, cool. Of course, I
Okay.
want it,
Right.
but for right now, I'm focused on just
All
painting
right.
that picture for people to see.
Well, you bring up promos. That's one of those tools. I talk about the toolbox for just one person in this universe that's trying to be a successful wrestler.
Mhm.
There are so many tools to fill up that toolbox with. You bring up promos, and you brought up, I felt disconnected with what I used to do. I feel more in tune, and I feel what I'm saying now because you mean it. And we're still talking about maiming your opponents here, but you're feeling more connected to what you're doing now and presenting to the camera, in the ring, in front of the fans, even in front of your peers, in
Mhm.
training, at the matches, all of it all together. Promos, my man, big, huge part of that toolbox. When I seen that promo come out, I gotta say, I'm wearing this Frosty shirt, especially with purpose, and the way it started off was absolutely perfect. But damn, that promo, my man, I, as a fan, felt that promo. So fucking congrats on really honing. It seems like you're honing right now. You're kind of sharpening your toolkit, if you will. You have a bunch of tools, but now it seems like you're sharpening one by one, or maybe even a couple at a time. And that promo, I was down with, and I felt it as a fan. And I'm like, this guy's got something. This persona has something. I'm looking forward. Not that I want to see, especially a pretty poppy. I don't want to see a pretty poppy die. I don't want to see a pretty poppy cripples. But I felt that promo moment.
No, I appreciate that. Again, it just comes from a real place, man. Like these, you know, everything that I do, everything that I say, it just comes from a real place. And that's just with everything. Like everything that again, I'm 32 years old. Like, how do I look in my early 30s faking the funk? You know, to me, it's just if I'm gonna go out there, I'm gonna be me, and you're either gonna like it or you're not gonna like it. And if you don't like it, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm not here to make fans. That's not what I'm here to get to the top of this of the TOS roster and eventually any other roster that lets me in.
Well, as I say, you can't sit back. You got to take it. We see a guy like, oh shit, There's so many examples. Currently, I'll use a current example. Bronson Reed. He was kind of lost in the sauce for a minute there. He's a big guy that does really not big guy stuff. Then he comes off the top rope with the tsunami. People didn't even give a shit about that thing for what, a year and a half, maybe 2 years. Then they bring him up into this main roster and start really doing a little something with him. Now every time he gets up to the top rope, we the fans, we're freaking the fuck out like he's gonna kill his opponent. Bronson Reed has come in and taken a position on that roster now. So I feel that's what Johnny Medina is doing right now. He's tsunamiing some of the roster within the TOS confines here. Now, you did mention, and other promotions, you're looking to spread your wings because we do find ourselves feeling comfortable within our home base, especially if you're working with a specific caliber of talent or, on a regular basis, And I'm not saying one caliber is better, but it's just a little bit different from one school, from one promotion to another. Are you looking to branch out and really spreading this Johnny Medina thing?
Absolutely. My goal, which I hope it happens next year, but if it doesn't, hopefully in the next couple of years, I at least want to find one promotion in each state of the Northeast that I can, go in and really make my mark on.
Okay.
Of course, we're in Connecticut, so there are a couple here that I'm looking at. You saw me, at pt2 recently. That's definitely one place that I feel like I don't know. I would like to see how I would cater in a six-sided ring.
Six-sided ring.
I like their roster. And then there's a couple other places too. The PAPW guys, there's a couple young guys there, man, that I would like to see myself in a match with. I am a big fan of Corey Duke. He's one of them.
Good look, that kid. Holy cow. Good look.
I don't know if he has a twin brother. I don't know if he's done stuff yet, but I can't wait to see those two as a team. You have Jeremy Lacroix, who gave me a shout out on his deal. I would like to see myself maybe either wrestle him or wrestle a tag match with him, or that kid got a mouth on him, but kid could work.
He backs. Now let's just pause. Let's just pause for a second right there. Jeremy Lacroix did give you quite the shout out because I said, who do you like? Because I was like, you've got to like somebody in this universe. All you do is spew, I hate this guy. I hate this guy. There's got to be somebody you like. And Jeremy Lacroix, out of everybody in the universe, it could have been somebody on AEW, WWE, New Japan. It could have been somebody else in a different company. Anybody in the universe. And he mentions Johnny Medina. Out of everybody, it threw me for a loop, to be honest with you, my friend. I was like, holy shit. He gave you some props on that. So I could feel the rapport there. I could absolutely see you two teaming up more than kind of getting a little feud going. I think that would be something for the fans, actually.
Well, that's the great thing. That's the great thing about this, right? Is like, who knows, right? I think he wrestled that Fight for Your Dreams. He wrestled at the last training day. So who knows, man? And that's what I enjoy about pt2 so much, is that you kind of see the blend of both, right? You see a couple of PAPW guys, you see a couple of TOS guys. So who knows, right?
Right.
Even on the PAPW front, I've been poking fun at their US champion, Chris Mooch. He's actually one of the guys that helped train me at the DPW dojo.
Oh, okay.
So after my match with Giorgio, he comments on my post. He says that he wants next.
Oh.
And I'm just like, hey brother, like, I have no problem putting a U.S. championship on my mantle. That's what you want to do. I have no problem making the trip to East Haven and taking that belt away from Chris Mooch.
Wow.
But
Johnny Medina.
but that's more so. Even though we bicker at each other, it's a respect thing at the end of the day because there's so many guys that helped me during the foundation process, the creativeness, and what I'm currently doing now. In the majority has always been Wagner and Bobby. Those are the two. But
Okay.
in my early stages, there was Jason Knight, there was Just Incredible, there was Chris Mooch, there was Bull Dread, there was I call him Pat Gunner. I will always call him Pat Gunner, but for a lot of guys, he's known as Joseph Von Schmidt, who was the owner
Okay.
of the PWA school. He was one of the trainers at the DPW school before he opened up his. But those guys are always part of my foundation.
Nice.
I see a Bull Dread and I see a Chris Mooch, and those are two of the. I will wrestle those guys at some point. I don't know where, whether it's TOS, LIT. If I have to make a trip to PAPW, Tetsu, I don't give a shit where. I will wrestle those guys at some point. And even on the TOS front, I have the utmost respect for the Underground King, and I have a lot I can't even explain. The respect I have for Bobby is a podcast on its own. But I'd be lying to you if I said I don't want to wrestle him. These are all these individuals that I named. They shaped me. So when I came back now, I was ready. I didn't have to question anything.
Now that would be some fun full circle for all involved on that. I think that would be a lot of fun for all you guys.
Yeah, that's definitely on my to-do list. I definitely want to wrestle each person that helped me at some point. I feel like I owe it to them to kind of show them like, hey, your help was worth it. Like it wasn't, because I know maybe it seemed wasted when I left. But I want to show them like, hey man, I not only am I back, but I'm gunning for you. Like I want to show you like what all the hard work that you guys did put into me, what came out of it.
Wow. I found this interview to be a little different than what I expected. I've kind of been processing how this would go throughout the day, my day at work. And I figured it would have been a lot of me backing down, you kind of yelling at me, and me backing down, and you yelling at me a lot more. Mr. Medina, this has been an absolute pleasurable conversation. Getting to know you, getting to know your background, your history, the way you speak about your peers is absolutely fucking beautiful to me, and how things have actually full circle or not with being in the ring, full circle has been happening to you for the last couple months. And I absolutely love everything that's going on in your career, my man. I truly do. As a fan that knows a lot of the names that you've mentioned, and I just wanted to touch upon the DPW. I did say I was there back then, but I wasn't in it like I am now. I went to a show every so very often. When ACW started with Jason Knight, I went to maybe a couple shows, and then I didn't really grasp on to the indie scene as I do now. But I do remember the DPW stuff and going to the Sports Palace and seeing over in New Britain and seeing wrestling shows going over there. And I mean, there is a little bit of that history in my memory. I only got one brain cell, but I do remember that dojo over on East Main Street or some shit in Waterbury, and it was just like this storefront, and it was a ring with a table, and I believe like a fucking telephone from what I remember, and that was some years ago. So I kind of remember some of those days, and to be here right now, back in TOS, you look like you're having some of the most fun probably in your career. I didn't know you back then, but you really do look like you're having a ton of fun. The way you've spoken about your peers is absolutely amazing. And I think right now, you're probably the most and I don't want to use the word comfortable. You can never be comfortable in wrestling, but I think you're just really good in your position right now. At this point in your career and at the dojo and where you're at. Could I say that's correct?
Yeah, I don't know if I would say comfortable, but
Yeah, yeah.
so I'm
Comfortable is not a good word.
yeah, so I'm definitely having fun for sure. Um, but I think it's because of who I'm around.
Hmm.
That plays a huge part in it too. Um, Again, like I have these guys that are getting better every day. Like they're good, man. Like I'm not saying it. I'm not trying to be biased on my dojo. Like I don't do that whole bias shit because I just told you guys from PAPW that I thought were good.
Hmm.
Um, and there's a few more I just didn't mention them. Um, but there's guys in that TOS dojo, man, that they just improve in every way, shape, or form. Like again, bringing back Tommy Bates and Daddy Cat. Like I just saw their promo today, and I texted them both, and I was like, money, like that's money, you know. And it's
Hmm.
one of those things where there are guys in that dojo that they push me, and I push them back, you know, and I want to see them be great because
Okay.
again, granted to what you said before, I'm 32 years old. I would love to be on TV, but who knows?
Hmm.
But you got a super fro who's 19 that has all the time in the world.
Hmm.
You got a young boy who I want to say, like, I believe just turned 23, has all the time in the world, right? And it's seeing those guys get better. I give a shit.
Hmm.
Before that match in Rise Up, where I was like, oh, I love this for this reason. My only intention in that month gap that I was there was to see those young guys be great. I never thought of myself as a contender until Rise Up.
Hmm.
And then it became what it was now.
Nice.
So definitely can't say comfortable. They make me excited to go to the dojo Tuesdays and Thursdays and do, man, the shit I'm cooking up, man, is crazy. It's crazy. I leave that dojo like just watching tape of like the stuff I've done. I'm like, all right, we're gonna tweak this, we're gonna tweak this, but like it just feels like a new life for me where I'm just having a blast. I'm glad to see
That's
them
awesome.
growing. I'm glad to be growing. But again, just hopefully they're not across the ring from me, and we're good. As long as we're not across the ring from each other, man, keep growing, keep succeeding.
I was actually going to bring this to a tail end, but I do have two questions
You,
before I
you
want
didn't
to.
even talk to me about Ryan Frost yet. How you gonna wear that
I
shirt and not
know.
talking about Ryan?
Hold on, we're getting there. First question is we've mentioned Jimmy Mees, who's been
Yep.
around for a hot minute in our indie scene in the Northeast. And
Yep.
we mentioned one, the chef, Peter Gianni. He's in his early 30s. He came back, like we were saying, kind of similar. And he is starting to cook, if you will, over at the TOS Dojo. Now,
Yes, sir.
Jimmy Mees is usually known for doing some nefarious bullshit. He has, in the past, been on the other side and not done some nefarious bullshit. But right this moment, present time, he has been doing nothing but nefarious bullshit within TOS and LIT being Legacy is Timeless.
Right.
Now, out of fucking nowhere, there has been a picture that surfaced with in the background being one Jimmy Mees, in the foreground, seemingly as a tag team, correct me if I'm wrong, would be one Peter Gianni, the chef. And then to the other side, if you're looking at the picture on the left, is one Johnny Medina. Please speak to us what is going on there.
All right. I'm gonna speak on two sides of it. So let's start with Pete. So with Petey, again, kind of a similar background. Um, our stories are fairly similar. Um, we just click. There's really no other way to explain it. Me and Petey just click. And it's not even like just in the ring. Like even outside of the ring, we're really good friends. I want to say we text almost every day. Like he's probably part of that group, that I brought up before with like Young Boy and Big Mo. He's another one that we talk all the time. Um, the idea was presented to us to be a team. Um, because me and Pete, like we beat the shit out of each other at practice. Like, like we just like that's just but it's like it's an endearing thing. So it was presented to us to be a team at Stepladder Warfare and for LIT. And if you notice, we're two different cats, man. Two different cats. But I think that meshes well because he's kind of the strategist of the group, or I'm more of the let's just do it. So I dig that for me and Pete. With Mees, so Mees refed my first ever match and my
Holy
second.
shit.
He was in that DPW dojo with me. Mees speaks very highly of me when I'm kind of just like me, not that big of a deal. He'll be like, oh, if I don't know if you watched LIT, they just did the whole, they put the whole show up online. But he's like, oh, he was an OG. Nobody knows who he is, and I feel like whatever. And in my head, I'm just like, I don't see myself that way. But if you see me that way, that's cool. But me and Mees have been. That's another example. We've been close since I was 14. He was there through it all. I saw a lot when I was 14. A lot of stuff that a 14-year-old kid probably shouldn't have seen. And Mees, I give props to Mike Milano, Jimmy Mees, and Shell. I don't know if you know Shell. She normally she helps out during the pt2 shows. But those three kind of steered me away from all the negative stuff that was going on in wrestling. So I'm forever, I owe those three the world. So me and Mees have history there. I think we've always wanted to do something, especially now with, my persona being what it is. I think it meshes well with him a lot more. I'm pretty sure he wouldn't want to manage the masked guy. Or the but this persona, it just got presented to us. We said, let's try it out at Stepladder Warfare. And I don't know, but I felt like it worked. I had a blast.
You guys because they did announce two teams, but they had questions on the other two teams, and they said that these were two teams that have never been in LIT before. And as we were outside waiting for the doors to open, one of the fans, Maddie, says, hey, Kincaid, who do you think is going to be the two teams? And I started naming names. We're throwing around a couple scenarios. And, well, this guy hasn't been around, this and that, blah, blah, and this and that. Peter, Gianni, and Johnny Medina as a tag team was not in my one brain cell, my man. And boy, as you said, it worked. And it was a it was a good time in Stepladder Warfare. Do you have any kind of name that you've been maybe thinking of? I know it's very early, but is there any kind of name kicking around there?
So right now, the name that we're going by is Waste Management.
I fucking love that.
If you've seen my work these past couple months, you don't even have to. I shouldn't even have to explain why that's the thing. If anything, and this isn't me putting myself over, but it's basically me just telling these two guys, like, look at what I've been doing. Let's just all do it together. you know. And Mees is like, you know, Mees. Honestly, it's more Pete, right? Because like me and Mees have been doing this for a little bit now. You know,
a
Mees a
couple
lot
minutes.
longer. Now it's like, Pete, come on, let's have some fun over here on this side for a bit. You know, if you like it or not. And I don't know, but did you see him chuck that ladder at folks?
Dude,
He was enjoying himself.
he was having a blast, maiming people.
He was having a blast. I don't know.
Oh, I fucking love that name. That is fucking awesome. If you notice, I popped immediately, so I mean that tells you something. But I'm easy. I mean, let's be honest, I'm easy. Okay, that was fun. All right, now let's get into somebody else that you mentioned, which would tie us in to my guy, Ryan Frost. We talked about Big Money Barbershop. That is a talk show, as a Piper's Pit would be, if you will. And TOS gives a spot, and it gets a little set up. Big Money comes out. He, oh, son of a bitch. He brings out a guest, and there was a guest, and I want to say, because again, please bear with me, Fight for Your Dream 7, if I'm not mistaken. He brings out the guest being Ryan Frost.
Yep.
And yourself, being Johnny Medina, and one Big Money Barber have some kind of relationship going on. So it seems like it's all about the money, so we'll hear that. Talk to us about this relationship, and you're part of this Big Money Barbershop thing going on. And what is the deal with taking out the wheel, and snapping it over there of my guy, Ryan Frost? And do you got something going on? Because you seem to enjoy beating on this guy. What the hell is going on? So, Big Money and Ryan Frost.
All right. So with Big Money Barber, that's my boy.
Okay.
You know, it's really, there's really not much to it. Me and him clicked instantly at the dojo, and it's really just shooting the shit, talking, you know, cracking jokes. You know, we just clicked pretty fast. I will be honest, the whole Ryan Frost thing, like that was not, you know, no offense to Big Money Barber, like that was all me. That was something that I wanted to do. And I asked him if it was okay to use his platform to do it. Because he was my boy, he did me the favor and, you know, held him down when I told him to hold him down. But this was something that I was planning for a while. Regarding Ryan and why I did it, it kind of evolved over time, you know. So at first it was just to make a statement. It was really just to let the world know, like, hey, like, I will find the biggest dude here and I will take him out. And that's really what it was. I wish I could sit here and you know, say a whole story, but no, it was just I saw him and I wanted to take him out originally. And then I heard an interview recently that he had. I don't remember the name of the show he was on, but they did a Q&A. So I wrote a question, you know.
Leo Connors. It was all ring and sports, or all sports and ring, or something like that.
So I write a question because, you know, I find it funny how Giorgio and Pretty Magic come out to save him, but now I repeat the same thing to Giorgio and I see Pretty Magic come out. I don't see Ryan. What's up with that, right? So I'm gonna ask, where you at? Why are you ducking me? And his response angered me because I felt like he was dismissing me in a way. And I feel like that's probably the worst thing you can do is try to dismiss me. And he needs to be mindful. Now I know a little bit more, because of what happened at Fight for Your Dreams. TOS management has not cleared him to come back. But the Ryan Frost that I heard of doesn't care about management. He would just show up with his kendo stick and take people out until he got what he wanted. That's the Ryan Frost I heard of. The bigger, faster, whatever the hell he says about himself. Right? So I just beat your friend down. Where were you? And your response is, it's not when I want it, it's when he wants it.
When he wants it.
Is his response. So my rebuttal to that is, so you're just gonna let me beat the shit out of your friends until you feel like coming back?
Wow.
When I beat down Pretty Poppy on Sunday, are you gonna be there? And if you're not, should you guys really be loyal to this guy?
So, go ahead.
I just personally look at it where, sure, if you want to say you're bigger, that's cool. You want to say you're stronger, that's great. That's fine. But to kind of, if the response felt a little bit dismissive, and if you've seen the stuff that I've been doing, that's probably the worst thing you can do. Because all you did was piss me off. So now I just don't respect you because I beat your ass and you're not gonna get your kendo stick back, but you bought a new one from Amazon. You're just using it in other places. What are we doing? Because when Wagner beat you down, you came back instantly. Why? What's the matter? Are you scared of little Johnny Medina? Because I'm smaller than Wagner. What's the issue? Or am I not a big enough threat? Because if that's the case, I could show up to a different promotion and give you the beat down too. That's what we want to do.
Well, we don't have to do all that. I mean, we don't have to do all that. So have you gone to the TOS? And I know he's not cleared maybe right today or tonight, or maybe not tomorrow morning, but have you gone to the TOS management and being like, hey, I want this big guy. He's ducking me. Why aren't you doing anything about this? Have you gone to the management? No.
All I know is that if I got my ass kicked at Fight for Your Dreams, I'm looking for the guy ASAP.
Okay.
Fight for Your Dreams was in October, early October. We're about to approach December.
Man.
If you're a common Connecticut wrestling fan, you've seen him around. Mm-hmm. But the place that you bleed tests of strength, it's on your phone case. That's what he said. It's on his wallpaper. You're not there. Huh. And I'm beating the shit out of your friends. And you're not there.
I mean, so that is a valid.
The question is, maybe Wagner had a point when he kicked his ass and he said, you have no friends. Maybe he should have just kept not having friends.
Oh, wow.
Because look, he found a couple friends. What's happening to them?
So do you just keep beating on Ryan Frost's friends until he answers the beckoning call? Because I'm one of his friends and I don't feel like getting beat down.
Well, be mindful. Be mindful. Giorgio Lawrence and Pretty Magic put themselves in that position.
Okay.
They chose to come out at Fight for Your Dreams. And that goes back to Pretty Poppy. You had your moment. You won your 6-man tag. You had your moment at Fight for Your Dreams. Why are you interfering in my business?
Gotcha.
Okay, you want to help somebody out? That's fine. Whatever. Okay. Now Giorgio's talking shit. I beat Giorgio. You come out again. All right. So now when I do it to you, is it just going to be Magic saving you? Do you got Magic and Frost? Is Giorgio going to limp out? What are we doing?
Mm.
I face whoever they give me.
Okay.
Because they're getting in my business, it seems like I'm getting them. And that's fine. If I have to prove a statement against these guys, so be it.
Not that I want to, but I'm gonna have to agree at this point. One Mr. Medina is and has gotten the upper hand on the names that he's kind of mentioned here. I've been waiting for some repercussion to. Not that I was looking for any pain to Johnny Medina. I was looking for some repercussion for any of these actions going on, and nothing has happened yet from any of the names that you have mentioned. And then we've got 51 coming up with Pretty Poppy and Medina. Me as a fan, I'm really, really curious on where all this is going to unfold. What this is going to unfold, actually. So, holy shit!
The whole point is that you can agree or disagree with my actions at Fight for Your Dreams. That's fine. I don't give a shit. You could agree or disagree. But the whole point is that I show up for work the next day.
And
that's the point. So
they must be taking a week or so off of work, a minimum.
Again, I understand that TOS management has not cleared Ryan Frost. I understand.
Okay.
But the Ryan Frost that I heard of it doesn't care about that stuff. He comes in on a tear. Do you remember his rivalry with Marcos? He showed up. He beat everybody up in LIT with a Singapore cane. He was asking for Marcos.
He did.
Last I checked, Marcos is bigger than me. Some might say Marcos is stronger than me. What's the issue? Do you not see me as a threat? Because I'm holding your kendo stick, your Singapore cane. I'm coming out to your cane.
Yeah, still. Yeah.
That's your trophy, bud. The trophy that Just Incredible gave you. Just Incredible, my trainer, my original trainer gave you, is in the right hands now. Because clearly, you don't want to hold it.
Wow.
I took yours and you said, okay, let me go on Amazon and buy another one and use it elsewhere.
There's some truth there. I'm not getting in the middle of any of that. Because again, I'm built like a candle. I'm not an athlete. I'm not definitely getting in the middle of any of that. Boys and girls.
If he doesn't like what I said, he knows exactly where to find me. I'm at the dojo Tuesdays and Thursdays. I will be there at Training Day 51 versus Pretty Poppy, your boy, your friend, the same guy who saved you from making that injury worse. That's all I need to say.
Boys and girls, please keep your eyes peeled to the Test of Strength page and the surrounding pages that are offered from some of the fans with the footage. May it be still pictures, video. 51 might be something that we might not forget. 50 was very special because it was 50, but 51 could be very memorable in its own right. I could keep talking wrestling with you for some reason. I don't know what's going on here. I feel like I can just keep talking and talking to Mr. Medina. But I will come to a close because I don't want to steal everything, because I think you're going to be around for more than just a month or two. And I would like to maybe have a revisit of one, Mr. Medina, see where you're at. See if the Ryan Frost thing is this Ryan Frost thing is done and over with, because this could carry on for a while. We don't know where this is going to go. So I will bring this to a close. And again, I cannot appreciate enough you being so open, honest, telling us stories about your background, really digging in onto some of the some of the fresh stuff. You, my friend, fantastic conversation tonight, and I cannot thank you enough. And I appreciate you.
Thank you. I appreciate you for having me.
Before I let you go, I like to have the boys and girls be able to find our talents that we've spoken with. Give us your Twitter, whatever the fuck it's called. Give us your face page. Give us your Pornhub. Give us your Insta. Whatever you've got cooking, whatever you got cooking, give it to us.
Sure. I'm on Instagram, Twitter, or X, whatever you want to call it, and Reels as the Johnny Medina. You can find me on Facebook, Johnny Medina. And I just started my YouTube channel, which will have my matches up there. Just search up Johnny Medina Wrestling. Yeah, that's all my stuff.
All right. Good stuff from one Johnny Medina. What a hell of a history. I kind of knew some of it as he was unfolding. The DPW, it kind of brought some memories back, and I can appreciate that. And the names you were pushing out there. It's been a minute, my man. But we still see a couple of them still in the present day. Still having fun. I don't know how the guys I don't know how the guys keep pushing, but they do. It's for the love. It's the passion. And I get that, but the body just says, please stop at one point in time. This has been such an amazing conversation, boys and girls, with one Johnny Medina. Everybody have an amazing Thanksgiving. And we're going to have, I'm doing a double. I have tomorrow, and then I'm cooking another on Friday. So we're going to have all sorts of chicanery and shenanigans going on from now until probably Sunday. So everybody have an excellent, excellent holiday. This is Stirring the Pot with Don Kincaid and our very special guest. Here's Johnny Medina. Yes.
Good.